All right, we welcome in our boy down bottom, writer and editor of Every Day Should Be Saturday, Spencer Hall. What's going on, Spencer?
You're looking at another exciting, hot, late summer evening waiting for football here in Atlanta, Georgia.
I can feel it. Well, first of all, I got to congratulate you on your Twitter feed. The only tater salad I've ever seen consumed is Ron White. I've never seen it eaten, always made, so touche on that. But I especially love your videos on shutdown fullback, especially one about the SEC. Is there any reason to watch any other conference this year?
No.
No, that's it.
No, of course there is, because somebody eventually has to play the SEC in the national title game. No, I mean, there really is a reason to watch other conferences, because that's the cool thing about college football. It's not uniform, it's not homogenous. If you like offense, you can get the Pac-12, which has better defenses than people think, but it's still primarily an offensive league. If you like football that looks just like the NFL, but played on a really slow tape, the ACC is your league. And then if you like no pass defense whatsoever and high-scoring offenses, then there's the Big 12, except for Texas, the only team allowed to play defense by rule in the Big 12.
And Spencer, I know you're a Gator fan, so of course you must know the infamous Danny Canal.
I do, yeah.
There's a little beef there, some Twitter beef maybe.
You know, Twitter's like, you can't take Twitter personally. Plus, you know, he went to Florida State, I went to Florida, and just think about it. Like, during his time, he got all of these victories against my school, and I got a real college education. So, you know, really, it evens out.
He's full of zingers. I love Spencer. Thanks for joining us. I have a question. I'm going to throw up a softball for you. Top 25 polls came out. Every year, we see a couple programs that seem to be overrated, and they ended up dropping out of the top 25 rather quickly. Who do you think this season are the teams that are overrated as we enter this season?
I think there are a couple of teams that are overrated. I think USC is probably overrated, but that's because they're at 1, so that's the easy take. I think Georgia's probably overrated. A South Carolina team in the top 10 should just scare the daylights out of every South Carolina fan out there, especially because so much rides on Marcus Lattimore. I mean, like, there's his ACL. That's what the whole season's riding on right there. I think another team that is probably overrated in the polls, Michigan could be, but their variance is so high, I still don't know how they play defense. I don't. I know Taylor Lewin is nasty, and then there's everybody else. Finally, I think that Danny, Florida State's a little overrated.
I was waiting for it. I threw up the softball for you. I was waiting for it.
Well, there are two teams. If you look historically, and like the top 5 teams that have been poll failures, it's really a compliment to be a failure in the polls, because it means everybody thinks you're good. And both Florida and Florida State over the past decade have both been in the top 5 in terms of poll disappointments. So it's a Sunshine State thing, man.
Without a doubt. I agree with you, especially when you look at Florida State's schedule. I think they're going to fool a lot of people for the entire season, but when they face a real test, they could be in trouble.
All right, Spencer, I'm a huge fan of fan misbehavior, as you could probably guess, hence my love of the state of West Virginia and the city of Philadelphia. Who has the meanest, nastiest, most ignorant fans in all of college football?
When they decide to show up, Miami fans are uniquely nasty. And I think that's because of what life has done to them in so many other departments. I think Arkansas fans, they're the most dangerously crazy. Everyone says Alabama fans are mean, and they are. But Arkansas fans, they'll actually, you know, they'll get into your personal info. They'll file FOIA requests. They'll make it legal with you. Finally, I think Mississippi without water, that would be the state of Arizona. Their fans on both sides, both at the University of Arizona and Arizona State, much nastier and much harder with the vitriol than you can possibly imagine. If you don't believe me, ask Iowa fans who ran into a nasty time when they played Arizona there a couple of years ago.
And a Florida fan and a Florida State fan coming together to call the Miami fans ignorant. Is that how this works?
Andy made a great point saying the ones they can get to show up, because it is a challenge down in Miami, especially when they're playing about 30 miles from campus.
They got things to do. It's a lot happening in Miami.
I will leap in on that and say that, you know, there are a lot of things to do, and sometimes that little house arrest collar simply won't let you out of the house.
Wow, keeping it real. Spencer, something you all know, you know something about fashion. Let's talk about the craziness that is occurring with these uniforms. I mean, Notre Dame, hideous. The Ducks came out with their uniforms. The Virginia Tech helmets were just, what is happening?
I think what's happening, one, is that you're discovering what bad taste 18 to 22-year-olds have, which that's who this is targeted at. Actually, it's targeted towards 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
Because it's targeted toward recruits. once you're in the boat, you have to wear whatever they give you, no matter how ugly it is. And fortunately for some teams, I think Oregon comes out on the high side of this because they just do such cool things, and because they're Nike's pet project. The silver helmets that they wore in the Rose Bowl versus Wisconsin were just awesome. They were fantastic.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Spencer, I think it's all about the Benjamins. I think that's the bottom line. We look at big business. They're looking to sell jerseys and get the fans to buy them. Spencer Hall, thanks for joining us. Check out his website, EDSBS.com. Thanks, Spencer.
My pleasure.